Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville, Kentucky for the UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley. He's the coach. It's his show, so we'll talk to him and see what he's got going on. Coach Corey Phipps here. And, Coach, we were talking before we went on the air about the things that are going on campus in addition to football, so let's go ahead and touch on that here. Well, we had one of the funnest soccer events yesterday I've ever been a part of in my life. Went through all of regulation, scoreless, first overtime scoreless, second overtime scoreless, so we got to the shootout portion, and boy, let me tell you, they should just do that in soccer.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. My daughter, who's a high school soccer player, said, she says, I really want to see this. I've never actually seen this in person. So yeah, the shootout portion was awesome. Super exciting to see some football kiddos and other athletes and stuff out there, and fans, kind of rush the field there to support our soccer team. And I'm not quite sure, is that the first conference tournament victory in program history?
First postseason win ever.
Yeah, so first postseason win for Logan Langseth and his coaching staff and his girls, and super excited for them. They'll get another opportunity to compete here, I guess, against Truett McConnell here pretty quick.
Yep. And Saturday.
Saturday. That's the number one seed in the conference. Hopefully they can get upset and continue on this run. Winning season, the only second winning season in program history.
So.
I had opportunity as the athletic director at Kentucky Christian to hire Logan, and then prior to my time as the AD here, I had the chance to recommend him for that position, and me and Logan, have a great relationship. He's a little different cat. He's out there yesterday in his tie and sports coat, and looks a little bit more like Bear Bryant than he did a soccer coach. So once again, excited for them, and congratulations to those ladies.
Wyatt said he came to the game dressed as Philip Haywood on Halloween.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was
that's
good.
Funny.
It was really fun. And Millie Conant in goal, boy. When you stop 3 out of 6 penalty kicks, that's getting it done right there.
Millie's she's a stud.
She's
a joy to be around, and a great competitor, and has added a lot to our women's soccer program here.
Nice win for your club last week, Coach. It got really lopsided. They scored a couple late and got within a couple of touchdowns, but I don't think the outcome of the game was ever really in question.
Yeah, mathematically, there were a couple of times I'm like, well, I guess if they really got a roll here, they could get themselves back in it. But I thought we obviously established a run real well. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I thought our kids did some really good things early, and it was a good crowd and a little bit cool, brisk evening. But it was really fun and a good win against the Bluefield Rams.
Amon Williams with 380 yards.
Yeah.
My cousin asked me which high school team we were playing. I said it was the only other undefeated team in the league at that point. So.
Yeah, we thought we could establish a run. We'd been out there, the previous 3 games and done well running the football. I think our overall stats might have been 200 yards a game rushing in, those 3 games. But, just the fact that we came out there and were just ripping big runs was really a shock to me, because I thought they were pretty good defensively.
And you did a little bit of what I like to call the Hillard Howard style of calling offense: run it again, run it again, run it again.
Yeah, when they went back and watched film, but they were a little upset at the fact that we really went about 5 plays deep in the call sheet on the night. So we're not a real extensive NFL-style call sheet where you got 300 different variable plays. We do run a lot of plays over. That's part of the air raid offense, the simplicity of it. But usually we're a little bit more diverse than what we were Saturday.
That's true, but there are also different variations of every play.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that could happen. Like as a layman watching a football game, you might not notice that we're running the same 3 or 4.
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about we have platforms, the inside zone platform, the gap scheme platform, whatever that is. And then there's all these little, wrinkles and tags off of it. So, yeah, you are right. It's probably not as simple as I like to make it out to be, but, yeah.
So I'm on 380 yards rushing in one football game. And I know I told you this earlier in the week, but the most amazing stat that I've got about that is that there's one player in the AAC that has more than 380 yards rushing on the season, and he had 380 yards rushing one night.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit stunning. Just we've had some big rushing games. I bet we've probably rushed for 300 yards, maybe 10 or 12 times in my play calling career. Because when you throw the ball so much, at some point people just abandon the run and they don't think you're going to run it. And you've heard me talk about it on the show many times. The defense tells you whether you run it or throw it based on the numbers. So, but to have 444 yards of of rushing. Was my alma mater in Arkansas is the kind of home of the flex bone triple option right now, and a couple of my buddies said, "Hey man, did you get rid of the spread air raid and go to the triple option?" I said, "Nah, man, we went to the one option, hand it to Amon."
That's right. Just keep giving it to him. And it worked. That was the crazy thing about it. And then it was crazy because when we got to the point where we realized he's about 40 yards from a national record, like that was when I said, okay, look, I'm going to go tell Coach where we're at.
Yeah, I saw you on the sideline. I thought the principal came to scald me.
That's the second time since I've been back in athletics I've been on the sideline during a football game. But, I felt like that was – and then all of a sudden they were able to stop the run. Like they packed the box.
Yeah, they did. And we probably should have thrown some late touchdowns, slot fades and vertical routes and stuff. But, I was trying not to appear that we were trying to pad the stats, but we were trying to knock it inside and try to get some of those yards. So, yeah, they took some away. I mean, really, quite honestly, they took it away on 2 series there late in the fourth quarter when we were just trying to go 4-minute offense.
Yeah, it was a fun night and a school record for team rushing. And then, of course, Amon's. That's a school record that may stand the test of time, right there.
Yeah, but we'll see. Hopefully, we can at least tempt it a few times over my tenure here. But I thought what was amazing too is I guess he had 4 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown.
Yeah.
Lee had a rushing touchdown. Tyrese Christian had a rushing touchdown. So 6 rushing touchdowns in a game is pretty big. We have been down on the 1-yard line more than any team I've ever coached, maybe combined. So Lee gets to knock it in with the big quarterback sneak quite a bit.
So I got to tell you this, and you'll appreciate this, I believe. One of the times that Belfry played Tim Couch when he was at Leslie, the last time we played, it was a playoff game. I say we because, I cover these teams. They're my teams. So the last time we played them, I said, I was interviewing him after the game. I said, Coach, I got one more question. If you had Tim Couch, this is a guy who has won state championship games and not thrown a pass in the championship game.
Right.
And I said, if you had Tim Couch, and he stopped me mid-sentence, he said, I'd throw it 30 times a game. I said, now, Coach, he said, Rick, I'm telling you. And then a few years later, he had Jonathan Wright come through there, and he was throwing it 35 times a game because he had a quarterback to do that. And that's what I was thinking about Saturday in reverse. It's like, if I told you could gain 400 yards on the ground, would you do it? And I would expect you to say, well, yeah, I would do it, but I wouldn't really believe you. And then I saw it because, I'm used to us throwing for 9 million yards.
Yeah, and it's also, you're really proud of Lee Kirkland, who is so humble and doesn't care about his stats. About midway through the first quarter, he says, Coach, just keep running the football, knock them off the ball, punish them. I really don't like these guys. There's a bit of a rivalry there, but between him and their quarterback, I think. So, and he didn't mean it like he doesn't like them, but he wanted to win, and he knew that Amon was playing really well. So
I think there was an exchange in the captain's meeting that he didn't appreciate.
Yeah, I think
so. And I think that's kind of what set him off for that game. So now we turn our attention to point. And listen, every coach I've ever met is, the next game's the biggest game. I remember Lou Holtz when he had Notre Dame number 1 in the country. They could be playing us, and he'd be saying, I don't know if we can stay on the field with these guys. They're just so good. But you're really concerned about this point team?
Yeah, I think Trevor Zeiders, their head football coach, is an excellent defensive coach. I think what they do, they're really big on the defensive line. They play great man coverage. The box numbers make sense. And, so, moving the ball against them, I've been concerned the last 4 weeks. And, my guys made a liar of me, but I think this week we're going to have to play some good defense, great special teams, and matriculate the ball down the field offensively and get some scores. So I think anytime you go on the road, too, it's always a tough deal. You go on the road and, 8-10 hours away in Georgia, but really play in Alabama, and the time change weird thing that we've talked about, and, all those things, become problematic. And we played really well in close proximity. We played really well at home. And now we got to get a really good far road trip under our belt.
But you're using it as a team-building experience, too, on the
drive
bit. Down.
Yeah, we're going to stop at the College Football Hall of Fame and peruse around. We thought about going to the World of Coke there in Atlanta, or the aquarium. But, I figured these guys probably want to see the College Football Hall of Fame. A lot to do in Atlanta, and maybe we'll do something the next time we venture down that way. But just, we feel like every year we try to do something like this. When we went to Faulkner a couple years ago, we went to the Civil Rights Museum there, the Legacy Museum. We went to Reinhardt last year in Georgia, we stopped at Lookout Mountain, rode the rail trolley up the hill. So a lot of our kids, didn't get the vacation as families, or didn't get the opportunity to leave whatever region they're from. So the fact that we get to hop on a bus and go see some things, we'd like to stop for a few hours, stretch our legs, and see something.
Sure, and if you're a college football player, the College Football Hall of Fame should be right up your alley.
Yeah, Lee Kirkland tells me he's been there, and there's actually a UPIKE football somewhere in the
Really?
exhibit. I don't know if it's an exhibit of all the college football programs in the country, but I'll be looking for that to take a picture with that.
They find out about his stats, they might want another football to be.
It's an interesting story. When I was at Faulkner, we had a kicker that was 63 years old, and after after he became the oldest kicker oldest person to ever score a point in a college football game, they called and asked for his cleat, and they asked for his jersey, and we had to call him and say, listen, we're a small college, we don't have extra jerseys, so you're gonna have to wait till the end of the season. So I'm interested to see if Alan Moore's jersey is somewhere there in the College Football Hall of Fame.
And we sure don't have extra cleats laying around just to sit in every Hall of Fame at once.
That's right. And what they really wanted was he had the old square toe attachment to the cleat. That's what they wanted. He was a toe puncher.
Yeah, we don't I don't think they understand what real small college football is like. I think they think small college football is Eastern and Moorhead.
They think small people. We've got big people. I want you to think small budget.
Yeah,
it's the biggest difference.
That is a big difference. A 3:00 start. That's an interesting start time.
Yeah, they said we can start at 11, or we can start at like 6. And I said, well, I don't want to get back the next day.
Yeah.
So how about 3? And they said, well, we think we could do that, but 1:30 wasn't an option for whatever reason. Something going on there. Can't remember what it was, but so it's going to be a good time. I think it's one of those interesting things where so many of our kids are from Georgia and Alabama right there, and even northern Florida, that I think we may end up with more fans than them. And that was kind of the case at Reinhardt last year. We had a big following, and I think it's going to be a good trip, and we're going to have a lot of people to love on our guys. And it's a little bizarre situation. They play at a high school, which we do too, but it's even less theirs than ours is ours. So, hopefully we bring the juice with us and our fans with us.
The interesting about Point is, some of these schools in this AAC, like we never played them before,
Yeah.
but Point's one of those schools that we had played before, and somehow I'd never been down there to that school.
Yeah, it's an interesting school. It was Atlanta Christian College, and they were there near East Point, in East Point, Georgia, near the airport, and they were looking to get kind of out of the inner city there and kind of a rough neighborhood and find another venue. So I guess Dean Collins, their president, their board, they started looking. They didn't want to leave Georgia because there's some pretty good Hope Scholarship stuff in the state of Georgia. So they found an old textile mill that had gone out of business in West Point, so East Point to West Point, and I think that was gifted to them to start their school there in that community. And so I guess it was just divine providence that it was West Point, Georgia, or East Point, Georgia to West Point, Georgia. We're going to change our university name to Point. And that's kind of how it happened.
And somehow or another, they play in Alabama.
Yeah.
In a different time zone.
Well, and that's like one time when I was at Faulkner, we went and played Kentucky Christian. Okay. Kentucky Christian. We stayed in Huntington, and we played at South Point, Ohio. So we got all tri-states up there in northeast
hit them all.
Kentucky.
Who you bring with you today?
And we brought a big crew. We brought the offensive line to talk to those cats a little bit about what it was like to rush for 400-plus yards. Last week we brought Amon with us. We brought a great young linebacker, a new linebacker to our program, Elijah King Turner, who does a great job with us, and a great personality. And then we brought with us to just fellowship today is our facilities crew. They do a lot for us on game day setting up. They do a lot for us across the university. They are the unsung heroes. So I would say they are the offensive line of our university.
Yes.
So there was a little bit of divine providence here as well in putting these two groups together today to fellowship and eat. So
I'll tell you, that's a great group. First of all, they're great guys.
Yeah.
And second of all, is like if you need something and you ask them, they will probably do it right there.
Yeah, that is it. That is it. No work order necessary sometimes.
Yeah, I remember one of the old guys who used to run the maintenance crew. I called him one day because we had a leak and it was a flood, and I said, "Look, I don't have time to do a work order." He said, "Rick, some things are bigger than work orders.
That's
we can
right.
do paperwork later. Let's get that
Amen.
flood stopped." And these guys are really, really good at that sort of stuff.
We're excited to have them on this this Halloween, this All Hallows Eve.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes, I'm glad you didn't come in a costume, other than being a football
I'm
coach.
Coach Phipps.
Being in a costume of a football coach or an athletics director. Other than that, because if you go around campus right now, you're going to see some things you're not used to seeing.
Yeah, I've seen a few oddities.
All right, Coach, we'll step away here, and we will come back start with some of these guys. I don't know who we're going to be, but we'll find out in a minute, and you'll find out with us. You're watching UPIKE Football Coaches Show here on the UPIKE Sports Network. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings UPIKE Football Coaches Show. Trying something a little different here. We're going to see what it goes like having more than two people here with us on our set. Jordan Scott, you might recognize him. He's kind of a local guy. Jacob Kopchak, he's not a local guy. We'll talk to them about what it goes on here. Jacob is from Sacramento, California. That is far western eastern Kentucky, right?
Yes, very is.
And Jordan Scott is from Belfry, and that is definitely in eastern Kentucky, right, Jordan?
That's right.
So tell us, guys, we had a big week last week with the rushing attack. You guys we are known throughout the country for our passing attack. Tell us the difference for you guys in rushing and passing, blocking, that sort of stuff.
You want to go first, Jordan?
You can go ahead.
So, obviously, our offense is air raid heavy, and we pass the ball, and Lee Kirkland is a great quarterback and make all decisions.
But you guys make him great, right?
Yeah, we make him great too, but it goes hand in hand with all of our roles and assignments and all that. We all got to be on the same points to protect Lee in the pocket, and obviously with Amon rushing for a great game against Bluefield, which they have a good defense, really good defensive end that is leading the conference in sacks, to be honest with you. And Lee trusted us to run block for Amon, that he said keep running the ball and Amon will lead us to the promised land. So it's a great privilege to have the confidence of the quarterback just keep running the ball.
And that kind of flexibility, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh, we're a pass first offense. It's not very often that we line up and say, hey, we're gonna run the ball, and we did Saturday, and it was awesome. I love running the football. I think as a lineman, there's two stats you really care about, and that's how many sacks you give up and how many rushing yards you have.
Right. Well, I mean, you probably weren't used to running rush blocking going to Belfry, right?
Right. Yeah.
Coach Haywood likes to throw us around so much, it really is it's a different scheme. So you had to feel right at home on.
Oh yeah,
Saturday.
I love it.
Yeah. So, tell me, we don't want to get into too much of detail here in case people in Point are watching, but when we're throwing the ball, the linemen have a scheme that's really unusual, right? It's not something that many people are used to running, unless you're part of this air raid system. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me in layman's terms, how would you explain it?
So we're talking about running the ball? Is that
No, passing.
Oh,
the pass blocking.
So, yeah, pass blocking, we usually do, we're not a man team. We're kind of we'll say zone team to keep it simple. So if our center or our running back gives up a protection call, it's Roger or Louis, which is determining which direction of the backfield he's in.
Right.
So Louis, he's on the left side with Lee Kirkland. So I'm the left tackle, and we get a Louis call. It means I'm usually locked on the defensive end in front of me. I don't have any outside worries or to worry. I had the guy on me, and the running back has the outside linebacker if there's an overhang, and the will we call he's the weak side linebacker in the formation strength. And then if Jordan wants to talk about the inside, because inside probably.
I just kind of worry about the man in front of me, and keeping them from getting the lead.
So, how many state championship games did you play in at Belfry?
Played in 3.
Do you remember if you ever threw a pass in one of those championship games? Because I know he's won championships without throwing a pass.
I think in all 3 years we threw maybe 2 passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not something that you do a lot over there, right?
No, and I don't think we completed a pass.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing is, like, Coach Haywood's one of those coaches who's got that philosophy, like, if you throw the ball, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad.
Yep.
Because you can either complete it, you throw an incompletion, or an interception, and you don't want to do the last 2. But it's completely different here, boy. We like slinging around a little bit,
Yeah, we
don't
do.
Yep.
So what was your situation like at your previous school?
So in high school and JUCO, we were the similar offense where it's RPO based, but we had the belly, the lead, ISO. So we have similar running plays that probably Jordan. We seen wing T and also, but it's probably like the most I pass blocked since from high school to JUCO. But I think that pass blocking is my strong suit. So I'm very. And then keep getting better at every day, and I feel it's happy that we have a really good offense because my offenses in high school were kind of below average or average at best.
Well, I know that you went to Eastern. Tell me what kind of system do they run?
Gosh, that was so long ago. Well,
See, you had forgot you went to Eastern. I haven't
Yeah.
forgot because that's my job to know that sort of stuff.
it's similar, kind of like an RPO system. It wasn't too pass heavy, too run heavy. It was just a good mix of both.
But it's pretty obvious here that, I mean, we make our money on passing the football.
Mm-hmm.
But, boy, 380 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Feels great.
Yeah.
I mean, even you played at Belfry probably haven't had 380-yard rushing. That's
Not by one man.
No, that's insane. That's an astronomical number
Yeah.
to have right there. All right, boys, I know we got other guys that are going to slide in here, so I don't want to hold you guys here too long. I do appreciate you taking time to talk to me. Tell me about this. I want both of you to answer this question for me, if you can. The offensive linemen tend to be underappreciated. They only notice you when something bad happens. Mm-hmm. We try to notice those guys and shine a spotlight on them, make sure somebody knows them. But there aren't stats that we can recite or use in a press release or something like that, So tell me, how do you guys view yourself in the system that we do here?
Well, I mean, I think that the O-line position, as a whole, I mean, across the country, I think it's a do-your-job position. There's no credit, and I think that it takes a different type of person to
Right.
to really appreciate being an offensive lineman. And something I would tell anybody who is new to the O-line is you guys do the majority of the work and get the least amount of credit. But that's all right to me.
Same thing with Jordan worked it. It's you do your own job and you do it 100% and know your assignment and go as fast as you can and dominate the opponent in front of you. And then I understand that, like, individually, offensive line, it's getting better over time, especially from back then. O-linemen didn't get any recognition much at all. But it's getting better now, especially with higher levels of college and stuff like that. But also, the O-line is 5 people on the line, and they all got to be in sync, communicate where they need to go, in direction and snap count, and they all have to do their job well. So what I would say for, like, if someone's playing offensive line and they feel like they're not being appreciated, like I didn't play till my high school junior year, and I felt I was being underappreciated. My coach told me, like, if you feel like that, the only way that if you want to feel that you're appreciated on the team is doing your job and having running backs run 300 yards like I'm on or beat your opponent by 60. So
Well, I can tell you guys this. I went to an elementary school, a high school, and 2 colleges, none of which played football. So when I was walking the sidelines with Coach Haywood every week, and Hillard Howard, his name's on our field, I felt like I was learning every week. One of the things I learned when we started football here, learned pretty quickly, was that no matter what you've got, no matter what your defense, I don't care what you've got on offense, it all starts on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And that's where your success will begin or end. So when we are doing what we're doing right now and on a win streak like we are right now, it means you guys are doing your job. And I want you to know I appreciate you. We're going to step out. We're going to swap out some guys here, so maybe a little bit of a shorter break. And we'll be back after this, the UPIKE Football Coaches Show here in Pikeville, Kentucky. Welcome back here to the UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley, and I'm joined today by Marshall Jefferson and Micah Lee, two more linemen here. And Micah's been around a while. I want to start with Marshall and ask him this. You told me you were the starting center. That's got to be different than even what your brothers on the line do there.
Oh, for sure.
Tell me how that goes. And are they? At what point are they able to make contact with you?
Sorry, restate the question.
What like
The
when you snap
defense?
the ball? Yeah. What point are the defense able to engage with you? 'Cause I know
Almost right away. Usually they're
snaps,
offsides
they're
or close to it.
On long snaps, the snap they aren't allowed to touch you, maybe
Yeah.
at all. But then so it's
No, they
almost
can make
immediate.
they can make contact right away.
And you say they're always offside. Spoken
Usually.
like a true offensive
Usually.
lineman right there. Micah, you
Yeah.
ever heard that before?
Yeah, all the
So
time.
you're from Lee Summit, Missouri, transfer from Bethel. We're familiar with Bethel
Yes, sir.
here from our days in the Mid-South Conference, and been down in that community many times myself. And you said Lee Summit is on the Kansas City side of Missouri, right?
Yes, sir.
For people who don't know maybe about geography of Missouri, you enter in St. Louis and you exit, the western part is on Kansas City side, so you're kind of western
Yep.
Missouri out there, right?
Yes, sir.
And your favorite barbecue place is
I forgot the name of it, but yeah, it's a little gas station.
Kansas City Joe's.
Yes,
that's
sir.
my favorite there also. Micah, from Fern Creek. Now, you hear a lot about football in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Fern Creek is not at the top of the list that you typically hear about, right?
Yeah.
It's not St. X Male Trinity.
Yeah, nah. We're a 6A school. Male and male, I should say, is our biggest rival in that division.
So tell me, when you play high school football there, what are the crowds like on Friday nights?
The crowds are actually big. Depending on the game, like the Fern Creek versus Manual game, that's a big rivalry game. The stands are usually packed out that night.
You may not know this, but when St. X and Trinity play, there's 35,000 people there for a high school football game. That's a really big deal in Louisville. And so Fern Creek's a little, maybe not on that scale, but 6A football that's pretty good.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty good brand. And you're the right tackle.
Yes,
you
sir.
told me. So what's your most significant role on the?
Covering up the defensive end. That's basically my role. I'm on the front side of the quarterback. If the quarterback's right-handed, the front side, and then just basically covering up that defensive end and watching for any linebackers coming off the edge. Sam coming off the edge, Rover coming off the edge.
You guys, I know you take a great deal of pride in the passing game, obviously.
sir.
We throw the football a tremendous amount and for a lot of yards and for a lot of touchdowns. And
Yes, sir.
it has to excite you guys when you're when you look up and all of a sudden we're in the end zone, right?
Yes,
It's very
sir.
exciting to see our work pay off and
Very
see us
pleasing.
convert touchdowns.
Micah, what are you saying?
It's very pleasing.
Yeah, it is. So, and then on Saturday night, all of a sudden, we're running the football like crazy. And I know that's a completely different blocking scheme for you guys. But obviously, you know how to do that too.
For sure. We love to get that opportunity to really dedicate to the run, go back to an old style of football, just running down their throats. We loved it.
We usually don't get to run the ball as much as offensive linemen would like to. So on against Bluefield, doing that and being able to do it successfully, it was a good accomplishment for the O-line.
Coach calls you guys the unsung heroes of the football team. I told the last two guys that were up here that when we started football, one of the first things I learned was I don't care what you've got at quarterback or receiver or on the defensive side, you're not going to be any good if you don't have a good, cohesive offensive line.
Yes, sir.
You guys agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If everybody's not working together and doing their job, then the whole line is not going to look very well.
Tell me about substitutions on the offensive line. How much of a that's got to be somewhat of a big change for you guys if there's just one person that gets subbed out, because you guys are it is such a unit.
Yes.
We actually have great tackles, though. That's usually the only position that we switch out very often. So they both are very efficient at their job. They excel at a high level at protecting our quarterback, and especially his position is one of the most important, just because if he gives up any kind of pressure, Lee can break his hand literally on the helmet of the defender in front of him. So,
Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. With the substitutions, it goes, one guy. So whenever that guy comes back in for the substitution, he's got to do his job just like the rest of us.
Now, he said that you were the most important person on the line. I would say that being the center.
Center, yeah. I would say the center is.
Yeah.
Because he's got to make all the calls and make sure everybody's doing their job correctly and call out the right double teams.
And get the ball to the quarterback so he can do his job.
That too, most important.
So how do you address that? You just
so
try
I
to be modest
have a great O-line around me that listens to every call that I make, whether it's wrong, right, indifferent. They're going to follow what I say, and that's what I need in a great O-line.
And those are the things that people who are watching a game in the stands, people who are watching a game on TV, don't know is going on. There's a constant stream of communication up and down that line.
Exactly.
And so what are you telling them?
Well, usually I start out by calling out the front, whether it's an odd or even down. I'll point a linebacker, and usually that's either saying that's a linebacker that I'm working to if it's a run play, or if it's just the farthest man to the play side. We know what that means, and then I'm usually calling either a double or some type of combination call. If it's a pass play, then I'm calling the protection, the slide side, man side.
How important is that to you, Micah?
Very important. If you don't get those calls, there is no play. So
True. And get Lee killed. And that's not a good thing.
That's not what we want. Lee's an interesting character, though, because he's as big as a lot of linemen.
yeah.
And I know I've told this story before that in the Georgetown game, he split the line. I don't know if it was a busted play, if he got away from him and he just had to carry, but he split the line, and the middle linebacker looked up and saw him coming, and he's like, what in the world is this? Because you don't see many quarterbacks that size. Like, he's big as you guys, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's true.
And how big of an advantage is that, or disadvantage is that, having that quarterback that's that big?
I think it's a great advantage, honestly, because he's proven that he can operate at a very high ability. No matter what weight he is, what height he is, he's going to run through anybody and throw over anybody.
And looking on the defensive side, if I was on the defensive side and seen a quarterback that big, I'd be frightened too.
100%.
Not somebody you typically want to see come. So you guys say, as much as we love the passing game, you really enjoy the run blocking. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, because that's what I've heard from the other guys too.
Yep.
Take a lot of pride in the rushing yards.
Yes.
Well, we've had 4 straight weeks where Amon's had 100-yard rushing games, and then, of course, 380 on Saturday. So you guys must be doing your job pretty well. Must be pretty happy with yourselves.
Very happy.
All right, guys, I think we got more of you guys to talk to, so we're going to rotate out again.
Yes, sir.
And we appreciate you guys joining us here. We'll be back after this.
Awesome.
You're watching the UPIKE Football Coaches Show, Buffalo Wild Wings in Pikeville.
Achieve your dreams at the University of Pikeville.
Welcome back to the UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley. This guy here, he's Amon Williams. You might have heard of him. 380 yards in one football game on the ground. Look, there are schools that will play that probably 380 yards would be the passing yards record.
Yeah, definitely.
380 yards on the ground, that's amazing.
Yes, sir.
You ever had a game like that before?
No, sir, never in my life.
Not even in
Not
Pop
in high
Warner?
school. Or maybe in Pop Warner, but they not keeping the stats like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So at what point did you know?
I really didn't know I was getting close to that number until like people started telling me on the sideline, and I came to talk to you.
Yeah. I typically stay off the sideline. That's the first time you've
Yeah.
ever seen me on the sideline. I was down there at the first game of the season last year just taking a few pictures. But I wanted to get down there and talk to Coach because my take on it was when you're that close to a national record, give the guy a shot.
You got to go for it.
Yeah, you do. And you scored 5 touchdowns, which is a conference record.
Yes, sir.
So you were the player of the week. We found out you're the conference player of the week. It was interesting. I'll tell you this, a little inside baseball here, if you will. Typically, what happens is we nominate on Sunday, and Monday morning we vote from 10 to 12.
Okay.
And then sometime around 12, they'll start reaching out and saying, hey, we need a picture of this guy, we need a picture of that. And we started voting at 10, and at 10:20, 10:20, you had enough votes to already be. They just reached out and said, "Hey, it's Amon. I've already got that picture. You just send me a headshot, and we'll go from there." So, I mean, and then later on that day, the National Player of the Week. Those
Yes,
things
sir.
they don't happen very often.
It was
man.
unreal, definitely, because I had talked to Lee about it about a few weeks ago, and he was just talking about a couple of his Player of the Weeks, and he said how much the National Player of the Week meant to him. So it was kind of crazy to finally get that accomplishment.
So here's an interesting thing that people don't know unless they watch this show. Lee Kirkland has been on to me and on to me and on because I'm the person who does that.
Uh-huh.
He's been on to me. You need to nominate Amon. He won it one week, and he said to me, you should have nominated Amon.
Yes, sir. I think that was the Reinhardt week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Lee's about as respectful a person. Like, he wasn't yelling at me. That's not how he does things. He just said, I wish it was Amon. And I said, listen, Amon had a great game. Amon had 3 touchdowns. You had 5. There's a difference in 3 and 5, and that's kind of what, the way I try to look at things. But, I mean, there's been plenty of weeks that probably the closest person to getting Player of the Week other than Lee was you, and we couldn't even nominate because you can't nominate both of you. You got to go with one. But so your quarterback has that kind of faith in you. He's trying to push you to have a big game. And I know early on Saturday he went to coach and said, hey, listen, forget about throwing it. Let's keep feeding that beast.
Definitely. And it's great to have a teammate like that who always going to have your back and fight for you.
And the linemen do a great job opening the holes for you.
Of course. And that's what the main part of the game goes out to the O-line, giving me the opportunity to go make those plays.
And so when they hand you the ball, like you kind of know where you're supposed to go.
Yes, sir.
But if you see the hole, you see the
go
hole.
Shoot
right?
for it, yes, sir.
And so no matter where you see that hole, that's where you go, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Get as many yards as possible.
And apparently they were opening up a lot of holes on
Definitely.
Saturday night.
It was kind of hard to choose sometimes.
So these guys, they don't get a lot of attention. They don't get a lot of love. And so we had them on talk about what they do here and want to have you on to talk about them. Anything in particular you want to say about those guys?
Really just it's all love to them guys. They come in day out and put in work. And like you said, they're overshined. They're not really talked about, but they're only really talked about when something goes wrong.
That's what I said to them earlier.
Yes, sir, definitely. And they did a great job last game opening up holes, keeping it going throughout the whole course of the game and not breaking down. And it really just goes out to them. After every drive, I come off to the sideline, I'm dapping up all the linemen, making sure they know they love by me.
Yeah, to make sure they know that you appreciate what
Yes, sir.
what they're doing. And it's interesting because pass blocking and run blocking are 2 completely different monsters. But these guys have proven they can do both. I mean, this is 4 straight 100-yard games for you. So they're obviously, opening up.
Doing their job.
That, and then, we're still throwing the ball all over the yard.
Yeah,
so.
And it's really just opening up with the RPO. And as much as we running it, it's just opening up the pass because they got to come and respect the run. And then when we pass, they got to come and respect the pass.
You also caught a touchdown pass.
Yes, sir.
And I know you got to enjoy that too. Tell me how that play worked out.
Really, it was just a swing screen type play, and then Diego Soto, he had made a great block on the linebacker, able to free me up.
So, one of your touchdowns, 77 yards.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of grass to cover,
It's
baby.
a lot of grass.
And tell me, when did you know? Like, when did you know I've got this?
Really, when I was out in space, I was just thinking, don't get caught, don't get caught. But when I felt that last dude go for my ankles and I slipped off, I knew it was over.
And then later on in the game, you had another run of about 40 or 50 yards, and they caught you from behind. And as soon as you got up, I saw you go.
I know, I was mad. I wanted that one. I definitely wanted that one too.
That was when I saw that, I just started laughing. I was like, "Yep, Ahmad knows he got caught, and he's not happy about this." 380 yards rushing. I mean, for a team, that's great. That's a huge number. Like, most teams want to run for 100 yards in a game. We had 444 yards rushing.
It was crazy.
And it's not just you, right?
Yeah, we had Lee, Tyrese came in, carried the ball pretty good. It's just a nice rotation that we got in the backfield.
So I got to tell you, when I was on the sidelines, I went over to Tyrese and Ben was there, who played here. Ben Henson played here last year, so I got to talk to him. And I put my arm around Tyrese. I said, "How about you? Averaging 10 yards a carry right now, and you boys got 11.8 right now." He said, "Yeah, I know. I can't even be mad." He said,
At
"This is
all.
awesome."
It's really just a two-headed monster in the backfield for real when we both get back there.
And I get the feeling that there's not a huge rivalry. Like you want to carry the football, obviously.
Yes, sir.
But if he's having that kind of game,
Definitely. And you see it after every touchdown. We come off to the sideline. We do our handshake. Every time we do accomplishments, we all happy for each other. It's all love.
and the offensive line right in the middle of all that, right?
For sure.
We want to make sure those guys know how much we appreciate that. Man, I appreciate your time.
Anytime.
Congratulations on being
Thank
National Player of the
you.
Week. Listen, I nominated you. You did the work. You put the work in.
Yes, sir. And I
just-
definitely appreciate you putting that word in
Well,
for me.
we just wanted to get your name out there. That's all we're trying to do, and
sir.
you've done a good job doing that. All right. So we're going to step out. We got one more person to talk to. We're not going to hear from Coach Phipps again, but we're going to have one more person we're going to talk to, and we'll be back with him after this. You're watching the UPIKE Football Coaches Show from Buffalo Wild Wings on the UPIKE Sports Network. All right, welcome back to the UPIKE Football Coaches Show. I'm Rick Bentley. Our final guest today, Elijah King Turner. That's what I call him. They call him EKT, right?
Yes, sir.
And he's a linebacker from Oakland, California. You a baseball guy?
No.
You're not. So you're not too upset that the A's are leaving Oakland?
Oh, yeah, I'm mad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you're not a baseball fan anymore, right? Because
Yeah.
of that.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about growing up in Oakland. What's that like?
Growing up in Oakland, it was a good experience, pretty hard. I grew up, around bad areas, but my family, they always kept me, around sports and family oriented, so it was also a great experience too. Oakland, California, it's like a village, even people that's not my family or my family, and overall, I learned a lot growing up in Oakland, California.
So tell me the difference in Oakland, San Francisco.
So the difference from Oakland and San Francisco, I would say, is San Francisco is on the water. It's more colder, more foggy. And then Oakland is more, how I say it, kind of have a mix of new town and old town, and I say it's changing, gentrification and things like that.
So you grow up in Oakland. How often are you in San Francisco?
Say it again.
You grow up. You're living in Oakland. How often are you in San Francisco?
Not really in San Francisco a lot.
No,
Yeah.
don't get there much. So you're a senior from your junior college is Costa
Yeah. Contra Costa College.
Contra
yes, sir.
Costa. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
it. And so what was that like?
It was pretty cool.
Where is that exactly?
So that's in Richmond. So it's a couple minutes away from Oakland. I'd say it was a pretty cool experience. I've been there for 2 years. Coach O, he recruited me straight from high school, and he told me I could come there straight out of high school and play and be able to get out of there with and be able to get a scholarship. And then after that, I came here to UPIKE.
14 tackles on the season, 2 sacks.
Yes, sir.
You want to tell me about one of those?
Yeah, I'll say my best sack, or my first sack, was actually Ryan Hart, the game that we need to win.
Right.
And that sack meant a lot to me because I was able to produce and get a stop for us on that drive and win the game.
When you're home, I'm sure people ask you, what's in Pikeville? What do you do there? What do you tell them?
Really, I say just football and school. That's really all I really do out here. That's really all that is out here, I like it because I'm able to focus and just lock in, and that's really it.
Tell me what your major is.
So my major was business management, but I just switched it to IT management,
IT management.
a couple weeks ago.
So Praveen Raja is he's your guy?
Yes, sir.
He's a good guy, boy. I'll tell you, I loved working with Praveen. He was one of my favorite people, and he's got those twins now. I don't know how often you see them
Yes,
around, but they're a lot of fun too.
Yes, sir.
I remember when they were born, and they were premature, and it was kind of touch and go there for a while. But Praveen always had that positive outlook on things, and
Yes.
now I see them, and they're like, it's hard to believe that those kids were the ones that were premature.
Yeah.
So it's and I know you have a lot of other teachers there in the College of Business, and I know how much those relationships, they're really important relationships for you to make sure that you're doing the right things and you're on the right ball. And then, like, this week we're going to be leaving early because we've got to go all the way to Georgia. So, being able to come in and say, hey, listen, we're going out of town. I'll be leaving early. And there's that understanding that how important both of those things is for you, right?
Yes.
So tell me, what else do you tell people about Pikeville? Have you been to Fist Bump Friday? Do you like those sorts of things?
Yes. My first time going to Fist Bump Friday, it meant a lot to me. I never really done anything like that. And doing that, fist bumping the kids and saying good morning and opening doors for the kids, it just made me feel just great inside, and I loved it. I love Fist Bump Friday.
When you were in elementary school, what would that have meant to you to see college guys out there?
Especially on a Friday, it would have meant a lot, just being able to meet college guys and people that care about you and things like that, it would have meant a lot.
So were you at the soccer match last night?
Yes, I was. I was there for a
so
little bit.
You were out there for the celebration?
Yes, sir.
That was really cool. And I was telling Coach earlier that I don't know that you guys understand the significance of you on our campus, but you guys carry a lot of weight, and to have you there at the end of that soccer match when we're going to the shootouts and the men's soccer team's on one side and football's on the other, and that wasn't because you guys don't like each other. It's just that's the side of the field you were on. And then when we make that last goal, that big pile in the middle of the field, that was just so special to see.
Yes.
You guys, and I know I see football guys at volleyball, and I see you at soccer and those sorts of things. Get out and be involved, be a part of campus, right?
Yes, sir.
That's a big part of what you guys do here.
Yes, sir.
And it should be a big part of what you guys are doing.
Yes, it is.
And you understand that, it's one thing for no matter who's out there supporting them, but when they notice the football guys.
Yes. Yes.
You guys are a big part of what we do on this campus here.
Yes.
So tell me, what are your plans?
So
Get that IT management degree, and then what are we doing?
Yeah, so after I get my IT management degree, I also want to become a fireman and also I also want to become a cybersecurity engineer or analyst. So 2 jobs at once, and that's my plan after this.
So I'm going to ask you this, and I don't want it to sound rude, but why fireman? Tell me. I mean, I really admire you for wanting to be a fireman. I'm not saying that the wrong way, but you're getting a degree in IT management.
Yes,
you
sir.
want to work in that field, but
Yes,
you also want to be a fireman.
Yes, sir. So once I was at Contra Costa, a player from our team, Dad came to talk to us, and he was a chief fireman, and he just told us about what firemen do on a day-to-day basis, and it just seemed cool. And after he talked to us, I said, yeah, I want to become a fireman. And just telling us about their schedule and how they work 2 days a week and 9 days a month. I felt like that's really cool, and you can also have another job on the side too.
Yeah. All right, EKT. I got to get used to that. So
Sir.
next time I see you, I'll know that.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you stopping by and taking time here.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck on Saturday. Let's get us another win.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's going to wrap things up here. We normally wrap it up with Coach Phipps, but we're not going to this week because we wanted to get more of these guys on and shine the spotlight on what they're doing here at the school and football-wise and in other areas of their life. So I want to thank all of them for joining us here. I'm not going to try to rattle off all those names. There's no way I get them all right. And Coach Phipps, our friends from Pike TV, really appreciate what they do here. They make it so much easier on us. I want to thank Wyatt and my assistant and all what they do here. And we just appreciate what everybody's doing here to make this thing work. We're going to go down and get a win on Saturday down at Point University down in Georgia. And then we will be back with you here next week as we go roll into another bye week here. So for all those people and for Coach Corey Phipps, I'm Rick Bentley. You've been watching UPIKE Football Coaches Show here on the UPIKE Sports Network.